Hello everyone, I am Business Marcus, and thank you for showing up for the first ever Forgotten Nexus team meeting. This is absolutely fantastic. Let's see, Gaming Marcus? Yeah, just give me a minute to get to a save point. Sure thing. Next, we have Anime Marcus.
私はここにいます。
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
わかりました。
Right. Casual Marcus? Yep. Great, that's all of us. Let's get to work. Alright, Gaming Marcus, you're up first. You're reviewing Biomutant. That's easy. Awesome. In the meantime, Anime Marcus, Casual Marcus, just prepare your workspaces. I'll have some work coming to you in no time.
はい。
Cool. Hey, Gaming Marcus, can we talk for a second? In your file, there's been a history of something called gamer rage, okay? For our first review, we do not need any such occurrences, okay? Sound good? Yeah, I get it. Good luck, have fun. I'm all about that. All right, time to game.
Narrator isn't the
This guy's kinda
only
annoying.
threat. What do you think his
Oh
are?
my god.
He's the one that's
dude.
called out of date. Shattered your family.
Not
Or did
this
you
dude
choose
again.
to forget? You need to get
Bro,
the pegs lined
quit.
up to get the clothes soaker rolled.
Oh
That's
my
enough
God.
electric
Dude,
current to
shut the
initiate
f*** up.
actu-
Welcome to the Nexus. Biomutant is a janky mess of a game, but I like it. But in no way can I recommend it. You see, when you think of the quality of a $60 game, Biomutant doesn't clear that bar. Regardless of the amount of content in this game, it just suffers from jank, and most people cannot get with it. But you see, when you're a real gamer, you can see the diamond in the rough. But for the casuals, we'll cover all the bases and we'll talk about the rough. Because there's a lot of rough. Look, I'll be honest with you guys. After about 3 or 4 hours of playing this game, I skipped all the dialogue. And no, it's not because the story's written like trash. It's
like
because
a tree without roots.
it's because of this. The narrator of this game never stops talking. He talks when you're out adventuring. He talks during combat. He talks when you solve a puzzle. He talks when you level up. He reads out every line of dialogue when you're talking to someone. He's even the voice of your mom.
You know you can't make up for lost time. You should know, practice makes perfect.
I wouldn't be surprised if he narrates when the little bunny character you play as takes a dump. He pushed and pushed until finally he took a shit. The funny thing about it is that in the settings, there's a slider to turn the narrator down all the way to 0. But you know what? He still talks. All the time. It's almost like they shouldn't have even had the slider. And it makes you think, if the guy's set to 50%, what's he like on 100%? I couldn't even imagine. I wouldn't want to imagine. I wouldn't want to. And here's the thing. The voice actor who narrates, who is the narrator, he does a good job. He earns his money. It's just the devs use him so much, too frequently. It gave me a headache after a while. The devs should take the narrator, drag his ass outside, put a gun in his mouth, and Sorry, viewer. What I meant to say is that the narrator shouldn't be used as prevalent as it impacts my gaming experience negatively. Look, I think the narrator was a risk, and he didn't pay off. The narrator isn't good. But you know what does pay off? The 2 little spirits that follow you around that represent dark and light choices. They're cool. They're funny. They're entertaining. They do everything right that the narrator does wrong. They're not there 100% of the time.
That's so dark. I love it.
How can you love something you can't see?
You don't see love, you feel it.
The dark feels cold and lonely.
Not as lonely as you.
Now, let me kind of describe how it works. So you can be good or you can be bad. So you can pick up a bunny, pet it, you get good points. If you pick up that bunny and snap its neck, you get bad points. And it's just so entertaining to hear their banter. And you know what? I did say I skipped every piece of dialogue in this game, but not them. Moving on to something else that is just really rough in this game is combat. Holy hell, is it janky. Let me just keep it simple for you. When you go up to a creature to hit them, the feedback is just off. It feels disjointed, especially with unarmed combat. You're just like floating and doing your own thing, and it just doesn't connect well. The absolute worst thing, the worst thing about this combat is when you want to go to hit someone, sometimes your attacks just miss. Like you should hit them. You're right in front of them. You're swinging your sword, and it just misses. And this also happens if you're using psychic abilities or using your little ranged gun. It's your shots or your psychic powers might just hit the floor right in front of them or shoot off at someone else that you're not trying to aim at. And do you know what would fix this? A lock-on system that almost every other game already has. This game doesn't have a lock-on. You look in their direction and you can faintly lock onto them, but say there's clusters of them, you could target someone else accidentally. You're probably wondering how I can say I like this game if the combat isn't that great, and if I skipped all of the dialogue, which is essentially all the story. Well, that's simple. I just went adventuring. That's the diamond in the rough. After trying to stick to the story, but just being turned off by the narrator, I went roaming off in a direction, and I don't regret it, because this is when Biomutant really shows its true colors. You see, when I played this game, I didn't play it for the story. I didn't even touch any of the side quests, really. I just went, explored new locations, and scavenged for cool gear, and took in the really cool world design. Because when I went venturing off and searching new areas, I was rewarded with really interesting loot, backed with nice little sound design and visual presentation when you open up a box. And that's why I kept playing Biomutant, at least a good reason. Going out into a new area and getting cool loot to augment my character, whether it's actual mods to increase the stats or just brand new gear, it was so much fun for me. Not to mention that the overall control of your character felt great, outside of combat though, not while you're fighting. And here's my motto. A lot of small issues can be a big problem, but in Biomutant, it's actually the other way around. There's so many cool small things about the game that made me want to keep playing it. And they were really small, like the running animation for when you're running with your little bunny rabbit creature. It's so cute. And riding on your demon goat looking thing. That was also really cool. Or just turning into a mucus ball and rolling into all your enemies and shooting them outwards. Like all these cool little powers and things in this game kept me wanting to return because not a lot of other games out there have this style that Biomutant has. Combat even got better once I found this legendary ice club that actually felt like it had weight when you would swing it. Pair this with another ability like the ice spikes or the blinking ability, and it made combat tolerable. But it did take a couple hours to get to that point. And going back to the charm that Biomutant has over other open world games, I've been playing these type of games since middle school. And they've always followed the same go to a bandit camp and go look for loot in this direction. And Biomutant doesn't do anything original in that sense, but it's just the design. The visual style is enough that it makes me okay. It makes me okay with traveling from region to region, looking for better gear, leveling up, dealing with an okay combat system. For the Forgotten Nexus, this game gets a 6 out of 10. And I would have dropped off way earlier on because of the narrator and because of the wonky combat. But exploring the world and finding mechs and traveling about, getting your demon goat and building up your character, that whole experience was really enticing. Even now, I want to play Biomutant just to travel around as my little cute bunny creature and to find out what else is new in the world. Great job, Gaming Marcus. This is exactly the content the Forgotten Nexus needs. Now, go ahead, take your 15-minute break, and then get ready. You have another review on deck. That's not even enough time for a match. What game is it? Let's see here. Necromunda Hired Gun. Another janky game. Well, hopefully this one's good.